All right. If I could get everyone's attention, please. I'm Pat McElroy, the general manager here. So let's call this meeting to, well, I won't call it to order, but let's start the day with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all very much. I'd like to introduce Dave Armstrong, the president of our board.
Thank you. Thank you, Pat. I would like to announce I have been advised we do have a... Just what? Just get right into it. Oh, okay. All right. Get closer to this thing. All right. I would like to announce we do have a quorum, which signals I can call the meeting to order. It also signals that it's too late to get on the pool of whose name I forget this year. But so I would call the meeting to order at this time. You have the meeting agenda. It was given to you on the way in. Is there anyone who would disapprove of this agenda? Thank you. At this time, John Knievel will come up and read the notice of meeting and the minutes of last year's meeting.
The notice of the 68th annual meeting of the members and directors of the Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company. To all members and directors of the Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company, you are hereby notified that the 68th annual meeting of the members of the Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company will be held at Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company, located at 110 East Elk Street, Jackson, Nebraska, on the third Thursday, 18th day of September 2025 at 4 p.m. The purpose of the meeting is for the election of directors, presentation of company reports, and for such other business as may properly come before the meeting or any adjournment thereof. Nominations by committee to 4 vacancies for 3-year terms are Larry Domina, 6th District at Large, Jeff Hartung, District 2, Jeff Hurl, District 5, and Ed Siffring, District 70. The company provides the enclosed proxy card for your use if you are unable to attend. You may select one of the directors listed or enter a member's name who will be present to act as your proxy in connection with any business to come before the meeting. The proxy card is addressed on the reverse side for mailing. Important, please be sure to sign and date the proxy card, as the proxy is not valid without date and signature. Please RSVP for this meeting to ensure a quorum will be reached. Call 888-397-4321 or email nntc@nntc.net or fill out the online form www.nntc.net/RSVP by September 11th. Please leave your name, the number in your party, including yourself. Every NNTC member in attendance will receive a gift from the company and be eligible for prizes. See the yellow attendance card for details. Any other matter for the good of the company may be brought up at the meeting. Your company will continue to be what you, the members, make it. Dated this 29th day of August 2025, signed John L. Knievel, Secretary, Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company. So that's the notice of the meeting. Now I'll read the minutes of the last meeting. The 67th annual membership meeting of Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company was held on Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company Warehouse, Jackson, Nebraska. The meeting was called to order at 4 p.m. with President Dave Armstrong presiding. Armstrong proclaimed that a quorum was registered and present. The agenda for the meeting was approved. The notice of the annual meeting and the minutes from the 2023 annual members meeting were read by Board Secretary John L. Knievel. The minutes were approved as read. Alyssa Arns briefly discussed the company's financial status. She commented that everyone should have received a treasurer's report and the outline of the financial condition of the company during their registration for this meeting, and asked if there were any questions from the floor. There being no questions, a motion was then made and seconded that the treasurer's report be adopted as presented. Motion carried. NNTC General Manager Pat McElroy began by introducing all NNTC employees. He then told the crowd there was some good news and some bad news in 2024. He shared NNTC is operating efficiently, growing financially, and continuing to serve rural communities, and the company remains strong. However, he said, a recent court ruling threatens the federal support that allows NNTC to keep rates affordable in rural areas. The Fifth Circuit Court and others ruled that the current funding system is unconstitutional, meaning without federal support, customers could see a monthly increase in their bills. The case is being appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court, which may rule in favor of small providers like NNTC or dismiss the case since other courts have upheld the funding model. Despite these challenges, leadership is optimistic that a resolution either through the courts or legislation will protect rural providers, as the alternative would be devastating to many small telecom companies. McElroy shared on a positive note, major projects are progressing well. The Hubbard project, completed in May, has connected 59% of potential homes. In Antelope County, 106 homes are included, with 29% connected so far. Butler County's $2.4 million project has achieved for 89 homes. Polk County's project aims to connect 176 homes with a $3.8 million investment. Looking ahead, Nebraska's broadband expansion plans have been approved, with federal BEAD funding expected to start in 2025. NNTC continues to expand, covering areas from Highway 77 to Homer, ensuring properties west of South Sioux City will be within NNTC's service territory. He told the members, despite the uncertainty with federal funding, NNTC remains committed to serving its customers, growing strategically, and securing its future in rural telecommunications. Mike Brebick read the minutes of the July 2024 nominating committee meeting. Following the reading of the minutes of the nominating committee and a request for nominations from the floor, the members were asked to use their ballots to vote for the directors of their choice. The ballots counting committee reported that Vice President Leroy Dvorak was re-elected to district at large, Greg Hoffman was to district at large, and Tracy Ludwig to district number 6. The meeting was adjourned at 4:41 p.m. Signed, John L. Knievel, Secretary.
Thank you, John. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes? If not, is there a motion to approve those minutes? Okay, we have a motion. Is there a second? All right, thank you. All in favor of approving those minutes just read, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion approved. Thank you. At this time, we're going to draw for a couple of door prizes. There's our basket back there. All right. Well, I will read the prizes. Okay, the first prizes are 70. No, it's a 70 years on the line kit. It is several pieces. It's a deep tissue massage gun. It is a 3-in-1 wireless cell phone charging station, an anniversary resin accented cutting board, and 4 coffee mugs. It's quite a kit. All right. Okay, and the winner of that wonderful package is Joan O'Neill of Jackson. All right. All right, thank you. And the second draw prize that we are drawing for now is a Bale Outdoors propane gas fire pit. The fire pit goes to Nebraska State Bank in Bristow, Nebraska. Okay, at this time, Alyssa Arns will come forward to read the treasurer's report.
Can you hear me? Last year she had a stool for me, so I guess they have to lower it this year. I'm waiting for my growth spurt. Okay, so welcome everyone to our annual meeting. We made it to the moment you've all been waiting for. It's time to talk money. You should all have received a notice of the annual meeting booklet. If you want to follow along like we do in church, I will be hiding, excuse me. I'll be highlighting a few things on the income statement on page 5 first. So right at the bottom of the page, you'll see we ended 2024 with a net income of just over $11 million. And I think it's always important to point out that this does include unrealized gains and losses on investments now that are required by law. So like stocks we haven't sold yet, but we still have to recognize that the value went up. So that amount for 2024 was 8.1 million. So when you back that out, we're really looking at a net income closer to 3 million, which is actually about 3 million less than we made in 2023. And there's two main reasons for that. One is we had $1 million increase in depreciation because of all the new facilities we installed to keep up with the skyrocketing internet demand. The second is a $2 million federal support reduction due to due to a change in how the federal broadband support is distributed. Our very own Pat McElroy has been hard at work in Lincoln and Washington, D.C. lobbying to protect this support. The good news is we signed a long-term agreement, 15 years of continued support, even if it's at a reduced rate. This support is vital to giving you the best service at a reasonable rate. Moving on to the balance sheet on page 6, you'll see total assets of just over $123 million at the bottom of the page. This is up about $8 million from last year, and that's largely due to that unrealized gain in stocks that I just mentioned. On page 7, turning the page, Look for the $3 million in other long-term debt. It's kind of right in the middle of the page. It's $2.9 million. This is actually state grant money that we've received to expand our broadband access in our neighboring communities. So far, we've been awarded a total of $11 million to bring service to about 610 new locations. So that's about $18,000 per location. It really just drives home how expensive it is to serve rural America and why ongoing state and federal support is so essential. Once construction wraps up on those locations, that grant money will no longer appear in that section as a liability. Now for the best part, capital credits. Take a look at the bottom half of page 7 under equity. You'll see $52.8 million in capital credits allocated but not yet paid out as of 2024. Last December, the board approved a $6 million payout of capital credits, which included 20% of the 2023 allocation, 100% of the 2013 allocation, and 10% of the special 2012 allocation, which was tied to the sale of a wireless license we held from 2006 to 2012. So if you were a customer during that time, you would have seen some of that money from that extra pool. This is the third year we've paid from that 2012 allocation, and there's still 20% left to be paid out potentially in the future. This is the third year, I'm repeating myself, in case you guys didn't catch it the first time. Plus this marks the 6th straight year the board has chosen to return money, a portion of the most recent year's allocation. That's a huge deal because it means our newest customers are seeing the value of being part of the co-op. In total, your cooperative has now returned nearly $83 million to members since 1990. Let that sink in, $83 million. What an incredible story to celebrate on our 70th anniversary. And there's more good news. If you turn to page 8, you'll see something we haven't seen in a while, customer growth. This is thanks in large part to our network expansions. And with even more build-outs underway, we expect that growth to continue. We are so fortunate and proud to be able to offer one of the best internet products available anywhere. And finally, an update on our loans from the Rural Utilities Service underneath the long-term debt portion. At the end of 2024, we were down to just over $9.3 million, with all notes being under 3%. And that concludes our financial rundown. Are there any questions? If not, I'll hand things over to our general manager, Pat McElroy, in just a moment. But first, a fun little joke. Just before a Sunday school teacher dismissed the kids for church, she asked, "Why is it important to be quiet in church?" Without missing a beat, little Johnny shouted, "Because people are sleeping." And no, that has nothing to do with Pat's upcoming speech, I promise. Oh, applause.
All right. Thank you, Alyssa. And if there are no, thanks. If there are no questions on the treasurer's report, I would look for a motion to approve that treasurer's report. Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve our treasurer's report. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, motion accepted or passed. And now Pat will come up with our management report. Thank you, Pat.
All right. Thank you, Dave. Just as I can see where Alyssa had church on the brain today, because earlier today I read my speech for her and she said, "Well, that's a pretty long homily." And I said, "Well, I'm not a priest." And she said, "Well, we know that." So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today as members of Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company, as was said earlier, I am CEO Pat McElroy, and I'm entering my 23rd year with the co-op. Today we gather to reflect on the rich 70 years of history and remarkable journey of our cooperative. As we look back at the milestones and key moments that have shaped our company, we are reminded of the dedication and vision of those who came before us. In the early days, individuals named Howard Rasmussen, Frank Smith, D.L. Hartnett, S.H. Nelson, and Carl Polson laid the foundation of what would become Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company. Howard had been involved with the county extension office and learned of the REA program that would offer long-term financing to build out rural America with reliable phone service. Their commitment to providing reliable communication services to our community set the stage for our cooperative's growth and success. Their original vision was focused on service, and the mantra that service sells has been our primary focus for 70 years. The original exchanges that formed the backbone of our network, Jackson, Hubbard, Dixon, Concord, Martinsburg, were shortly followed up by adding Obert, Maskell, Clearwater, and Bartlett. Over the years, our cooperative expanded its reach and offerings through strategic acquisitions and partnerships to the point where we are now in 30 communities. And in the next few weeks, we will be in 31 communities as we are just turning up services in Homer, Nebraska. Those are the hard facts about history, our history. But I just want to take a moment and reflect on the people that caused this to happen. All of us as members of the co-op owe a debt of gratitude to the vision of Howard Rasmussen and manager Bing Jones. I never had the pleasure of meeting Bing, but from reflections shared by our longtime billing clerk Judy Yandel, he was a very motivated and motivational person to work for. He was the manager for the first 8 years of the co-op. Then Howard Rasmussen took over. Now, I was a young man when I first met Howard Rasmussen. And in his role at the time, he was president of the board. I will share with you that my impression of Howard, now keep in mind I was young, was that he was extremely proper, confident, determined, but a great visionary. So I can almost picture those early meetings and Howard taking charge. He had the drive to overcome any obstacle that would arise, and through reading the minutes and other historical articles, there were a lot of conflicts that needed to be navigated and issues to be solved. Just like any business, you solve the issue of the day and you press forward. I'd like to share just a few stories from my research. As I said earlier, Howard was confident and determined. In the early 1960s, there were negotiations on where the headquarters should be located. At the time, Coleridge was just joining the co-op, and they made a hard push to put the headquarters in Coleridge, since in their view, which is correct, it was more centrally located for our service territory. Reading between the lines and the minutes, you can feel the tension leading up to the new office being built right here on the site in Jackson we are today. And that was the strength of Howard. Being a salesman is also very important to the success of every business. Many people here may not realize this, but there was a process where each new area had to raise equity to a level that would allow you to acquire a loan from the RUS. The loan was then used to get money to build out that area. Much like you would put down 20% on a down payment on your house today and finance it over 30 years, that's what we had to do here for the co-op. So staff in the early days needed to sell equity certificates to every new customer before they could get service. These certificates weren't cheap. They were like $40 at the time in the 50s and 60s. That's not easy. So instead of the co-op paying you capital credits, the users had to pay capital into the co-op to get service. And at that time, they never had any guarantee that they would get the money back. So at one point in the history, there were tense meetings in the Clearwater Bartlett area about the local calling area and what it was going to be. There was a segment of ranchers that didn't want to be on our system if we didn't have free calling to, I don't know if it was Elgin or Ewing, but a place where they transacted a lot of business. But the dispute needed to be settled and in a short time frame, or the co-op would lose a large loan from the REA that was allowing NNTC to start operations. Over a 2-week time frame with lots of nightly meetings out in the Clearwater area, they were able to come to a resolution and move forward. Lots of driving back and forth, lots of urgency, and to make sure it all worked out. Needless to say, it was not all clear sailing in those days. When Howard stepped out of the GM position and took over as president of the board again in 1978, Emery Graffis took over. Emery was an extremely calm individual. I think most of you people here have probably known Emery at some point. He was simply a worker. He was the GM for 36 years, and he left an incredible legacy at the phone company. During this time, we started the cable TV services, our internet services, and even though at the time when we started the internet, neither him or I really knew what it was. But we knew people were asking for it, and so we had to answer the need. We also grew our customer base by acquiring Craig, US West Exchanges, and the Clarks area. We also rebuilt our headquarters following the Jackson tornado. He did all this by religiously working 11-hour days throughout the course of his 50-year career. I consider myself fortunate that I was able to meet and work for both of these pioneers. They had two totally different styles, but were both extremely successful in their own way. I'm grateful every day to be one of the 4 people chosen to lead this company. One thing that stands out when researching this is what coaches today would refer to as the grind. Often, when we reflect on history, we focus on monumental milestones that occurred. There's a natural inclination to believe the past was always the good old days and things were pretty well predetermined to turn out well. But history is shaped more importantly by the steady decisions made day by day, week by week, year by year to continuously improve. The grind is made up by how we treat each other, the way we prioritize service, and our attitude we do it with. These everyday decisions have allowed us to overcome challenges, embrace opportunities, and continue to deliver exceptional services to our members. The first 70 years show how lucky we all are to be members of something that is very special. Our history should be celebrated, and we should use this as a guide for our next 70 years' growth. Having gone through all this reflection on our history, it makes me very grateful of the staff that I get to work with every day. You can see them all around in the blue shirts, which there are some other shirts, people in the same shirts, but you guys make it great. And while I value all the staff, today I'd really like to highlight my 3 main managers that put up with my demands every day. They are Operations Manager Cliff Woodbury. Cliff, can you wave around so people can see you? He's straight in the back. Cliff and his staff are responsible for having a network that works most all of the time. And that's not an easy task. We're constantly under attack from other areas, and we have to build and maintain systems that are sometimes outdated. So we're working hard to make sure he has the best plan available. So our marketing manager, Melissa Lanzarakis. You guys have probably all seen Melissa. She does a great job of making us look good, and that's not easy when you got Cliff and I's looks. So, and then our Director of Finance, Alyssa Arns. We don't know what she does here. But without them making key decisions every day, I would be lost. They keep the grind going, they keep moving forward, and they keep the co-op moving forward. So. Also, we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to recognize the contribution of Tom Stronach. Tom was a longtime board member who passed away this past winter. He was on the board for 26 years and on the nominating committee for 10 years prior to getting on the board. Tom was a leader in making sure our board stayed active in our industry pack. He was also a great advocate for our employees and proud of his co-op. But more importantly, Tom was a man who was fun. He was very pleasant to be around. The employees will probably all remember he was at the last Christmas party in December. You wouldn't have thought that a month later he would have been passed away, but he was just a joy of a guy to be around. So keep him in your thoughts. So anyway, thank you for listening to me this afternoon. I know I didn't touch on a lot of the industry stuff, but if you have questions about any of that, I'll be around after the meeting, so please come up and introduce yourself. Thanks for being members of the co-op. Okay, I got a couple of door prizes I get to give away. So first door prize is Baresh Meats from Coleridge, Nebraska. Coleridge, David City, and Columbus. We have a $70 gift card to Baresh Meats. Thank you. Okay. I never know these names. Mert Hani. There's Mert. Do you pronounce the E or not? Okay. Okay, Nebraska Spirit and Stream Bundle. Nebraska Charm Bracelet, a 500 gig credit, and an NNTC 70th Anniversary Coffee Mug. And the winner is... Thank you, Paula. Janet and Joseph Vidlock from Allen. They're in the back corner, Melissa. All right, thank you very much. With that, I'll call up Michael Brabant. Mike is going to read the minutes of the nominating committee. For those of you that don't know, in July we have a nominating committee gathering, and they come together and they review the applications for the board positions. So Mike's been on that committee for a lot of years, so thank you very much, Mike.
Well, I think we got through the hot weather and the humidity, I hope. Now we can look forward to 30-degree below temperature in a few months, I guess. Most of us could get out of this heat. We had air conditionings and what have you. But it reminded me of a guy that was doing the job that I had done 2 years ago. And he worked in a foundry. And he was pouring hot metal. He had to keep the furnace at 2,400 degrees. And it was like 135 degrees in the building. Well, he was really thirsty for a beer after work. He could think of that ice cold beer. He got off work, got in his pickup. The air conditioner wasn't working. He drove down the road, and there was a liquor store. So he pulled in, went in and got a six-pack. And he said, I'll just sit here for a while and drink a beer. So he did, and it was so good, he had another one. And then he took off down the road. A little woozy, you know, a couple beers in that heat. Sure as heck, there was the sheriff. And he pulled him over, walked up, driver's license, registration. And you know what he asked? He said, have you been drinking? He said, yeah, I had 2 beers. I got a six-pack. I saved you 4. Here, have a good time. Well, you know what happened then. Anyway, the nominating committee meeting for Northeast Nebraska Telephone Company was convened at 7:20 Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Sioux City at Table 32 Restaurant. Upon calling the roll, the following committee members were present. Ed Mosier, Jr., Clearwater. Terry Wilkerson, Coleridge. Sherry Albrecht, Jackson. Ray Knovel, Nixon. Eric Cole, Stewart. Darren Brown, Craig. Micah Brabitz, Morse Bluff. John R. Thiel, Clearwater. Also in attendance was Pat McClackley, General Manager, and Alyssa Arntz, Director of Finance. Darren Brown was elected Chairman, and Cheryl Albrecht was elected Secretary. Chairman Darren Brown then called the meeting to order. The minutes of the last nominee committee held July 17, 2024 were read. Terry Wilkinson offered a motion to approve the minutes. Michael Bribitz seconded the motion, and the minutes were unanimously approved. Pat and Alyssa updated the committee about what has going on in the company the last year. They discussed the increase in TV rates and a decrease in internet rates. They gave an update on the expansion areas for which state grants were won, as well as other build-out areas. They concluded by discussing the personnel changes. In 2025, annual membership meeting will be held on September 18th in Jackson, Nebraska. Chairman Darren Brown then stated that nominations were in order for 3 directors, each serving 3-year terms. The following nominations were made and seconded. District 2, Jeff Hardtongue, Dixon. District 5, Jeff Hurl, Craig. Pat thanked the committee members for participating in the process of submitting nominations for the annual membership meeting and requested the committee's continued input on company business and potential improvements. There being no other business to be conducted, a motion was made by Sherry Albrecht to adjourn the meeting, and the motion was seconded by Eric Cole. The motion was approved and the meeting was adjourned. Sherry Albrecht, Secretary.
Thank you, Mike. At this time, we will get into the new business of our meeting, and that is the election of directors. We heard in Mike's report that anyway, earlier Pat mentioned that Tom Stronach had passed earlier this year, and our bylaws in that case have opened up a 7th district, and the nominee for that district is Ed Siffring from Ulysses. The other nominees are sitting to my right. Larry Domina is the district at large, Jeff Hartung is District 2, and Jeff Hurl is District 5, the nominees. I'd like to introduce Ed so you know who Ed is, and he's from Ulysses. He is our candidate for District 7. You want to? Yes, come up.
Thanks, Dave and Pat and everybody. Is there anybody here from District 7? The new District 7? Yeah, I see you, Brian. Ulysses or Staplehurst or Clark's? Not too many of us, so it's a bit of a distance. It's a bit of a, thank you. Should I try it again? Is anybody here from District 7 besides Brian? Clark's? That's the new district that's been added. Clark's, Staplehurst, and Ulysses. And so I'm on the agenda as a nominee for that new district. Brenda and I live north of Ulysses. If you don't know where Ulysses is, I understand, because I don't know where Obert is. But if you were to go from here to Lincoln, you might go through Fremont and Wahoo. Instead of going south of Wahoo, if you go west on Highway 92, first thing you're going to get to is some of Leroy's district which has Malmo and Weston and such. Keep going a little further, you get past David City, where the little swoop down there. And a couple miles past that, you turn south, that's Ulysses. And you go a few miles more on the country roads and you find Staplehurst. And if you keep going west on 92, about 30 miles, you'll find Clark's, roughly, once 90 crosses the Platte. If you're coming from Tracy's direction, and you're coming from, down through Norfolk, maybe Columbus, you go south of Columbus and turn east on 92, go past Rising City, and that's the same place there. You get Ulysses and Staplehurst or south. From Columbus, if you just cross the loop and go down Highway 30 for about 30 miles, you'll find Clark's. So that's where we're at. So Brendan and I have been living out there for number of years. I've been in Butler County for 30 years now. We have 3 kids. They're not married, no grandkids yet, so I'm actually going to see 2 of them tonight in Omaha. So my son in Denver's flown in. He's going to go to the football game this weekend, believe it or not. So that's a little bit about me. There's a little bit about me in the program notes. Does anybody have any questions before the meeting proceeds? I think we're good, Dave. All right.
Thank you, Ed. At this time, I would like to take some time and ask if there are any nominations from the floor. Yes, Dennis. All right, we have a motion to cease the nominations. Is there a second? Thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we will close the nominations. The voting will begin. The ballots, I believe, are in your hands. There will be baskets passed around to collect them. And the winners are David and Jean Ron of Allen. And our 6th door prize is a TCL 55-inch ultra high definition smart TV that includes the Roku TV package. All right. Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, I would like to point out again that all members attending today will get a $70 deduction on their bill. So thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your participation. And is there a motion to adjourn? All right, got one. And is there a second to that motion? Thank you very much. All in favor of adjournment, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? All right. Thank you very much. Take care, everyone.